my name's Phoebe and I'm a second-year PA student. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm filming a video talking about how to create a good PA student account. I know what you're thinking, this is totally unnecessary. Why do I need one? I'm never gonna make one. I was in the same boat actually until I started going to a lot more professional events or just meeting people at rotations. I found that this is actually something that's really good to have. I'm gonna be talking about things that are good to post while you're in your didactic year and also your clinical year. I've just found that across the board, PAs definitely use Instagram a lot more than I originally thought they did. I feel like Instagram is a better way to kind of connect a lot of times because it doesn't have as much pressure or stress as maybe LinkedIn or something like that. It is also still staying professional. A lot of times you don't want everyone just like following your personal. That's not what we're trying to do here. So I think a professional PA account is good to have, and just think of it as a LinkedIn or a CV but with added personality. First, I'm going to be talking about what you should have as your username. Regardless of what you want to make it, make sure it's professional and make sure the letters PA are in there somewhere. I know a lot of people just put PA in their username. Some people put PAS while they're a student and then switch it to PAC once they become certified later. Whatever you decide to do, just make sure PA's in there so that way people can easily find you and they know what your account's about. Next is your profile pic. So this should definitely be either professional or semi-professional. Again, this is not your personal Instagram account, so just keep in mind whatever kind of photo is reasonable on LinkedIn is reasonable on here. You could do something kind of like hiking or something to show more of your personality, but just remember, always keep it professional. Now I'm going to talk about good things to post while you're in your didactic year. I feel like there's not a lot that looks different day to day during didactic year just because most of it's just lectures with the occasional kind of hands-on lab. But things that I do think are good to include are if you do any labs, suturing, a lot of people post about that, gowning and gloving for later when you go on surgical rotations. Things that are kind of hands-on are always good to post. Something else that I've seen a lot that is really neat is day in the life. People kind of do a series of photos or a video talking about what they do from the time they get up to the time they go to bed at night and kind of get a little bit of a better idea of what a typical day looks like as a PA student. Something else I would recommend including is what you're learning about at the moment. So are you learning about pulmonology right now? Are you doing pharmacology? All of that's really fun to talk about. It makes it a lot more personable if you talk about which topics you like, which ones you maybe don't like, successes that you found in class, maybe some struggles and how you're overcoming those. Last but not least, just remember, keep it positive. Potential coworkers, people who are hiring later might be seeing these, so just always keep it positive and professional. Now I'm going to move on to clinical year. Clinical year, pretty much across the board, posts tend to be based around rotations. That's just what you're doing pretty much every single day of that year. I personally have a very specific way I like to set up my posts for rotations. I kind of do the same thing for each one. I'm going to kind of actually pull up one of mine right now and go through it with you, and then I'll include pictures right up here so you can get kind of an idea of what I'm talking about. The first photo of that post, I like to make sure that it's very obvious which rotation this is. I like to make mine on Canva where I kind of use a template and say, oh, like rotation number, whatever, this is what it is, this is where it's located. Next, I like to include some kind of photo showing me in a setting kind of related to that rotations. A lot of times you'll see these might just end up being selfies because you don't want to accidentally have a patient in there or anyone else who wouldn't want their photo shown. It could be a photo with people that you work with your preceptor. Just make sure you run it by them that you have their permission to post these. And then while we're on that topic, make sure that you're not posting anything with specific patients, with their charts, during surgeries, anything like that. That's all HIPAA violation and we don't want to get in trouble for things like that. If you do have something maybe like surgical that's like really cool that you want to post, always feel free to look online for photos that you can use that don't have any discerning information on specific patients. Some other things that I like to include are my badge. So especially if I'm working at a really cool hospital or well-known hospital, I think it's neat to have that up there. I also like to include kind of a study photo. Usually what I like to do is put a photo of one page of my study guide because I do like to make study guides for all of my core rotations. On a side note, if you are interested in any of my study guides, feel free to check them out. I'll have a link below where you can find all the ones that I have up. There's a ton to go through. They're for both didactic year and clinical year, so feel free to kind of look through, see what you need. that's what I tend to post. I know a lot of people also post just generally them studying or their like setup, layout, or just them literally studying. Lastly, I like to post if there's any nice like surrounding views of either where I'm working or just my everyday commute to getting there. I think that's kind of cool. I live in New York City right now, and there's always a lot of cool cityscapes, so sometimes I include some of those if I see it. And then also, some people might feel very differently, but I think sometimes there is merit in including your EOR score at the end of each rotation. Definitely don't think you absolutely need to do this. It's definitely very personal information, but I do feel like if it is a rotation or like a specialty that you're very interested in and you've done well on the rotation, including it can only help you because it's just one extra thing that could get an employer to be like, oh, we should hire this person. Do with it what you will, but I think there's definitely a benefit in certain circumstances to add your score as well. And then last but not least, for the caption, make sure just to talk about what you've been doing in this role, what you liked about the role, what surprised you maybe, was there an interesting case, just any insights that you learned so people kind of understand like your take and your experience and how you're liking it. And then some other things I wanted to talk about just across the board. Other things important to include are any class events. So did your class go on a charity walk? Did you fundraise for something? Did you guys all wear pink for breast cancer awareness? Class things like that are really cool to add. Things that you would expect to see on a PA program Instagram account. All of those things are good to add. Any volunteering that you've done, whether with your class or outside, healthcare or not, I think all of that's really cool to add on there too. Any awards, achievements, scholarships, all of that should go on there as well. Any research, any projects that you've worked on, any posters, presentations, any professional events. So obviously the national conference, AAPA, if you're in anything like House of Delegates, advocacy work, the LAS conference every year in September, any state conferences. So for instance, I'm in New York State, it would be the NISPA conference each year. All of that is really, really neat too and shows your involvement. I just want to kind of leave you with this. Your professional Instagram should definitely be a fun place, but make sure to keep it motivational, inspirational. It should be something that people are interested to look at, see what you're up to professionally, and just get to know a little bit more about you and your personality. I know it seems like very unnecessary, but it's a great way to connect with other PAs and students and pre-PAs and other healthcare professionals. I feel like this is actually the platform that's like used more often, more so than LinkedIn or anything else now. It's kind of which connections do you make and who do they know, and it's just very easy to follow someone on their professional account. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you end up making yours. I'll see you in my next video.